Today, we're covering the top 25 Junkwax era cards sold on eBay for December 2024. Prices in this video ranging from $3,000 at number 25, and our top selling card this month is over $20,000. You have your usual suspects on this list, like Michael Jordan and Ken Griffey Jr., but there's also going to be a few surprises. And also, starting this month, I will be adding in wrestling cards into the list. So let's take a look at some sales. All right, let's take a look at some Junkwax sales. So up first, what I define Junkwax is 1987 through 1994. I allow for no duplicate cards, but if there's autos or variants, that's fine. And you could have graded or raw cards. Although in these Junkwax videos, they're going to typically be all graded. All right, we're going to start off with a 1989 score, Barry Sanders autograph with the dual 10s. One of the greatest running backs in NFL history. There's over 1,000 of these that are signed. Very few that are dual 10s. And a non-auto 10 typically sells for about $1,200, give or take. This dual 10 sold for $3,100. Up next, we have a 1988 Dennis Rodman dual 10 as well. One thing you'll know from the Junkwax series is these dual 10s go crazy. This one sold for about $3,500. A non-auto on this is typically about $1,500, and there's 466 of his rookie cards signed. All right, we have a 1991 Desert Shield of Chipper Jones. These Desert Shield cards are really tough. They were supposed to be issued in the Middle East, but what I've also read up is some of those never went overseas and were still in the US, and that's why you can kind of find a lot of these. Now, I wouldn't say a lot, but you can find a good amount of these in good shape or great shape. So this 9.5 sold for about $3,500. A PSA 10 is about $10,000, and a PSA 9 is about $2,000. One of my favorite cards from the Junkwax era. This is Musial, Mantle, and Yastrzemski triple autograph. I think this is the first ever triple autograph also in the hobby, which triple autos go crazy today in a lot of high-end products. And you have three legendary baseball players, right? Mantle and Yaz both have triple crowns. Stan Musial, I believe, does not have a triple crown, but Musial is on most people's top 10 to top 20 list. And regardless, this copy over here, 7 on the card, 10 on the autographs, sold for $4,000. And another 7 sold in January of 2024, so about a year ago. And that sold for $3,250. A PSA 8 sold for $4,300 all the way back in 2021. So don't let people tell you that score is garbage, because it is not. You can find some great autos. All right, 1987 Fleer Adrian Dantley. Now, I saw this sold, but I do think this card was shilled. This one is a Pop 42 and a PSA 10. What I've seen for most of these others in PSA 10s, they typically sell for about $1,000. And there's also some recent comps of 10s around this time of Dantley. It's not like it's sold a few times a year or every few years. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. I think this card was shilled, so don't fully trust that $4,000 price tag. And if you do want to see me remove these type of comps in videos, just let me know. I was 50-50 whether to keep this in or remove it. Okay, 1987 Topps Tiffany of Mark McGwire. Tiffany's tend to be a little bit tougher. 87, there's a ton of Tiffany's, which I didn't know until really researching into Tiffany cards. Non-auto 10 of this card is usually about $300. There's only 31 of these that are signed, but the fact that this is a dual 10 over here, it sold for $4,125. 1989 Fleer Grossi of Ken Griffey Jr., one of his better rookie cards from 1989. This sold for $4,250. It is a Pop 120 in a PSA 10. If you want to go the more affordable route, you can pick up a 9 for about $200. And also, these glossies are much tougher to find than your standard Fleer, which is why it has such a premium. 1993 Finest Refractor of Chris Webber, first year Finest, as well as the first refractor cards that were issued throughout the hobby. The 10 is a Pop 12, and you can find a 9 for about $350. This copy right over here sold for $4,400. We have Michael Jordan over here, Dynamic Dunks. You're going to see a ton of Jordan stuff, which is no surprise. And on this one, it sold for about $4,500. It's a pop 35, and if you want to get a 9, that is going to be way cheaper, $150. 1987 Hulk WWF, another kind of interesting sale on this card. So another 10 did sell for $2,000 in January 2025, but it was a buy it now. A 10 sold back in 2022 for $500, and then this copy over here sold for $5,000. So again, I'm trying to report sales on this side of things. So it did sell, but I'm not too sure what's going on with this card. And regardless, it's a pop 3 in a PSA 10, so there's not a lot of them out there. Obviously, not a ton of comps. And a PSA 9 sells for about $43. In the 15th spot, we have a 1990 Frank Thomas no name on front. Unfortunately, a very streaky autograph on this one, which sucks because it's such an expensive card. There's only 13 of these no name on fronts that are signed, and a no autograph in a 4 typically sells between $4 and $8 grand. So I think someone probably lost a little bit of money getting this one signed after the fee, getting it graded and everything like that, because it sold for $5,000. We have a 1987 Akeem. This sold for $51.01. It's a pop 11 in a PSA 10. These stickers tend to be pretty tough to gem out. A PSA 9, it goes all the way down to $60. In the 13th spot, we have a 1993 SP foil Derek Jeter in a PSA 9. I hate to say the 9's affordable making this list, but if you want to find a 10, that is a $300,000 card. Although I have seen one comp, I think it was last year or year before, that sold for $200, but they typically sell about $300K. Jeter stuff is kind of in a roller coaster right now, going up and down. But in the PSA 9 grade, there's 633 that are graded. You can find an 8 for about $250. Again, this one sold for $5,500. Another Michael Jordan in the number 12 spot, 1988 Fleer card 120. This is a pop 384 in a PSA 10. A 9 you can pick up for about $325. Sold price on this one was $5,650. Number 11, 1993 Refractor of Ken Griffey Jr. in a 9. If you want to find a 10, that's going to be a $15,000 to $20,000 card. Super, super expensive. There's 110 PSA 9s out there, and the sold price on this one was $6,000, which was pretty high compared to other comps, but there have been other sales for $6,000 and $7,000. But I've seen this card sell a lot, anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000. All right, before we jump into our top 10, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. So I had to put a Ricky Henderson in here because I did see this towards the top sales. Did not make the top 25, obviously. But this is a 1992 Donruss Elite Legends. Has the foil, has Ricky stealing a base over here. And it's a pop 26 and a PSA 10. Even a PSA 9 still sells for $250. This sold over here for $1,243. Up next, we have a 1992 Fleer update of Mike Piazza, the Dual 10. They always dominate this list. There's 71 of these that are signed in general, and a non-auto 10 sells for $350. The sold price on this was $1,350. A Wilt Chamberlain. This is, I believe, his first autograph card issued by Upper Deck in 1993. Numbered to $750. Sold price on this was $24.41. I'm still kind of surprised how cheap these go for in comparison to some of his other late 90s autograph cards. I don't know why people don't like this as much, but regardless, still a pretty good price overall. We have a 1990 starting lineup yellow of Michael Jordan at PSA 10. This sold for $24.41. It's a pop 31 in a PSA 10. A 9 sells for about $175. 1994 Randy Savage. Like I said, I'm going to start adding in more wrestling cards. So my career will update next month, but I plan on adding in 87 through 94 if you guys aren't opposed to it, because I'm not doing the wrestling video anymore. But regardless, this was a 6 with an autograph on an 8. These cards are numbered to 500. You can see at the top it says autographed 150 out of 500, and it sold for $26.05. A 6 authentic auto sold for $1,500, and these are going to be super condition sensitive, and the autographs on these typically suck. 1993 Living Legends Fleer Michael Jordan card number 4. This sold for about $2,900. A PSA 9 is $250, and it's a pop 77 in a PSA 10. 1992 Mariano Rivera. This has made our top 25 before being the dual 10, but slightly missed it for this episode. There's 478.92 Bowmans that are signed by Rivera, and a non-auto 10 you can typically find for about $500. And lastly, we have a 1983 Scoring Kings Jordan, one of the most popular Jordan cards out there. PSA 10 is about $12,000. A PSA 8 is about $750. This 9 sold for $2,200. All right, we're jumping into our top 10 now. First, we have a starting lineup 1-on-1 from 1989. This sold for $6,600. Pop 30 in a PSA 10, and a 9 sells for about $700. We have a Desert Shield of Ken Griffey Jr. in a 10. It's a Pop 28 PSA 10. The last PSA 9 did $700. This in a 10 sold for $8,500. I will also say be very careful with Desert Shields. There are fakes that are in slabs, and it's a very heavily counterfeited set. So be extremely careful when purchasing one of these. 1992 Beam Team members only Shaquille O'Neal in a 10. This sold for $8,600. His best rookie card out there. PSA 9 sells for about $650. It is a Pop 60 in the PSA 10 grade. Number 7 over here, we have a 1989-90 Hoops Michael Jordan. Not too bad on the autograph. They gave it a 10 over here, although I'm kind of iffy if it should get a 10. Looks a little streaky, at least from this image, but I can't fully tell. This one sold for $88.56. Number 6, we have just the Mickey Mantle autograph. So I've talked about it in other videos that people still get Griffey to sign this card. So I'm curious if this is going to be one of those that happens to. But regardless, there's 3 versions of this card. There's a Mickey Mantle only, then there's a Griffey only, and then there's the dual to see them together. This is the first time I believe in this video series that it's just been a Mickey Mantle, and it sold for $9,000. This is a really high grade though, 8 with an auto being a 10. Another Beam Team over here of Michael Jordan. This sold for $9,300. It's a Pop 108 in a PSA 10. You can typically find a 9 for about $800. Jumping into our 4th spot, a card that I'm not familiar with at all. 1983 Action Pack Jeff Gordon prototype. If this is a crazy comp, just let me know. I can always edit this out of the video. Sold price on this one was close to $10,000. What I found from a little bit of research is the cards are similar to regular issue 93 cards, but contain the word 93 prototype on the card back, along with different card numbering that came from Beckett. And I don't know if these are super tough and high grade or what. So just please let me know, because it even seemed like some other grades sold well, at least initially when I did some research on this. I could be wrong, but I don't really collect NASCAR. It's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. Number 3, we have a starting lineup jumping of Michael Jordan, a 10. There's only a Pop 10 on this one. A PSA 9 sells for about $300. This sold for $10,600. In the number 2 spot, dual 10 of Ken Griffey Jr. No surprise with this, sold for $11,800. Non-auto 10 is about $2,700. There's 3,400 of these that are signed in general, which is crazy. And also, fun fact, this is the first card ever by Upper Deck. All right, number 1. This card's going to sell for over $20,000. Maybe make a prediction right now what you think it is. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. 1987 O-Pee-Chee Barry Bonds. The Pop 39 and a PSA 10. A PSA 9 still sells for $500. This sold for $21,000. O-Pee-Chees are a bit tougher to find than Tops, especially in the Junkwax era. And what an incredible sale. I'm curious where this would go if Bonds makes the Hall of Fame. Although I do think a lot of pricing for Bonds is already built in based off the future Hall of Fame potential. But then again, Bonds was such a legendary player. I could see the hobby going crazy. All right, thanks guys for checking out this video. And if you enjoyed it and you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to put last month's Junkwax video on the screen right now if you want to check that out. Thank you, our channel members, and I will see you guys in another video.